Tales of Mithrym.
Scales of Justice, read by Ennatos, Part 12, Prison Break. Ducky walked up and down the cells, unlocking each in turn and letting the doors swing in. The faces of the prisoners were on him. Many looked terrified. Their clothes were ragged, and their faces paled by long work, little light, and poor food. "Well," he said, turning on the spot to take them all in, "what's it to be?" "They'll kill us," one of the prisoners called out. "They'll do that anyway, one way or another," Ducky replied. "I ain't saying it's better on the run, but come on, at least you'd be free to feed yourself, to sleep when you want to." "You are the one that put me here," came Montu's voice. "Me too," shouted others. "Yeah, and I'm here too now," Ducky said, staring them down. "Turns out I was on the wrong side, but they had me working or starving. Seems that's what they've been doing to you too. Now what's it to be? These doors lock themselves if you fancy sticking around. I ain't staying to debate you. But it seems to me that you ain't exactly got anything to lose. You belong to Knarth, do you? Well, I don't. I won't." A short man with wispy white hair stepped forward. His face and his arms were scarred. He was thin, but strong, and his face was resolute. "I won't," he said in a cracked voice. "Time was they said Knarth was ours. Now they say that we belong to Knarth. I lived in the city all my life. This is not what I worked for. To be made a slave by my own people. I am with you." He walked over and stood beside Ducky. "Righto," Ducky said. "Seems to me we'll need something to fight our way out with, mind." He looked around for any sign of a storeroom. They must have put his armor somewhere, and his sword too. But where? He was roused from his contemplation, though, as another voice sounded out. "I'm with you too," a woman called out. She was young, her face dirtied from heavy labor. "This was our city once. I say we take it back." "Right, steady on now. We've got to—" Ducky was cut off sharply as more voices joined in. "No more!" cried one. "This must end!" came another. Before he knew it, the room was filling with sounds and cheers. "Bloody hell," Ducky thought to himself. "This ain't a jailbreak. This is revolution." "Stop!" he shouted. The sound echoed around the chamber. They did stop. All faces turned to look to their new leader. Ducky turned on the spot and took them all in. Haggard, tired, grim but determined. Then something struck him. "Where are the guards? Why haven't they—" They all craned to listen as, just outside, the world seemed to explode. Outside, on the rooftop, Derville and Elvin were running. They came to another break, but could see standing watch on the next building, more wardens. How were they going to get away? This was impossible. They dropped down onto the street below. A crowd of people were milling about, the market still busy with trade. Lowering their heads, they tried to fall in step with the rest of the people. This did not last long, though, as a shout was heard from the other end of the way. "There they are!" called the warden. High above, they heard the all-too-familiar sound of large flapping wings as they saw a dragon soar overhead. Elvin reached out to one side and, gripping hard on a fruit stall, pulled hard, causing oranges, mangoes, pears, and dates to spill across the street. People shouted and darted out of the way as he and Derville ran. The air around them whooshed past, almost knocking them down, as they felt the heavy wing beat overhead. Dervil looked ahead of them at more people, more stalls, more boxes and produce. Her mind was racing as she considered her options. "Elvin," she called, "when I say duck." He was ready, though. "Got it. Aye, sir." She smiled. "Duck!" They both dropped down as they felt the swoop of the beast gliding down behind them. Another moment, and it would have grabbed them in its talons. As it was, though, the claws grasped at nothing. The beast, heavy with momentum unencumbered as it has missed its quarry, hit the ground hard, rolling headlong. Shouts and cries rose from the crowd, as well as gasps as both rider and dragon careened into stalls ahead, spilling yet more wares and striking panic as the creature rolled and leapt to stand among the people. It rounded on Elvin and Dervil as they stood up again. Dervil was smiling still as she looked straight at it. "Oh, and I thought you were strong," she said in a mocking tone. The dragon leapt at them on all fours, claws out. Dervil pushed Elvin to one side and jumped to the other. The beast landed between them. At this point, the crowd around were getting frantic. Those merchants that could began to wheel away carts and stalls. The others were hastily bagging what they could and making to leave. Onlookers were shouting and beginning to run until the whole street was in absolute chaos. "Keep it up," Dervil called to Elvin. "They can't keep up with us through a stampede." The two of them ran again, the dragon bounding after them each time. Wardens, too, now joined the rout, as one street became a whole quarter with people fleeing the grounded beast. It swung and clawed and bit at Elvin and Dervil as it went, but soon, with a grunt of frustration, spread its wings and rose up into the air again. The gust of hot air it threw down floored many, including the two of them. Dervil rose quickly and called up to it. "Oi!" she shouted. "Come on, then!" Elvin jumped up. His heart was racing as he watched the dragon straighten up and begin its descent at Dervil. "No!" he shouted, grabbing her around the waist and pulling her down. Green flames erupted from the jaws as once again the beast was robbed of its target. Flames erupted with a crash as the dragon careened into the wall behind them. A flash and a crash of stonework, brickwork, and splintering beams flew in all directions. The dust settled to reveal a gaping hole in the building, and, standing beyond it, Elvin and Dervil could hardly believe their eyes. "Ducky!"
Tales of Mithrym are written by Jimmy Clephane. Mithrym is a fantasy world built for the Dungeon Room role-playing game system. To find out more about the world of Mithrym, or to try out the game, go to www.mithrym.com.